Imagine this. You get millions of people to watch your stuff, follow you, and buy what you're selling. But you still end up losing millions of dollars. How is that even possible? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the secret formula for getting all that viral attention, and then we'll unpack the wild cautionary tale of what happens when that hype becomes a trap.
So, let's just start with a number. $10 million. What if I told you that was the sales for a brand new company?
In its very first year of business. I mean, that's an absolutely explosive start, right? Okay, now hold that thought and take a look at this next number.
2.9 million. That's how many subscribers a single YouTube channel managed to get. For any creator out there, you know that's an incredible feat.
And they did it with just 99 short videos. So how does this even happen? How do you rake in 10 million in sales or get nearly 3 million subs, seemingly overnight? Well, it turns out there's a formula, and it all starts with understanding one thing: human emotion.
Okay, so let's really dive into this. We're going to look at the psychological engine behind some of the most viral content online right now, and it's AI puppy videos. Yep, you heard that right. These channels are getting monetized, they're growing at lightning speed, and they all follow this shockingly simple and effective playbook. See, the secret isn't some fancy keyword or the perfect title. The YouTube algorithm, above everything else, rewards one thing: retention. How long can you keep someone watching your video? And the answer is by hacking their emotions. If viewers stay hooked, the algorithm assumes the video is good and boom, it pushes it out to more and more people. That's the core of going viral.
And this is how they do it. It's a brilliant little three-step formula. First, you start with a sad hook. You see a poor little puppy. Maybe it's getting bullied or it's starving. That immediately grabs your attention and makes you feel for it. Second, the relatable struggle. Now the puppy has a tough job. Maybe it's a samosa seller. It's this detail that reflects a real-world struggle that pretty much anyone can connect with. And finally, the happy ending. The puppy succeeds against all odds. You, the viewer, feel satisfied, you feel happy, and you are way more likely to smash that like and subscribe button. It's a perfect emotional roller coaster, all in under a minute.
So, okay, you can engineer virality. You can get the views, the subscribers, the initial wave of sales. But what happens next? Does that first explosion of attention actually guarantee any kind of long-term success? This is where our story takes a really dramatic turn.
To see how this plays out in the real world, I want you to meet Davey Fogarty. It's late 2017, he's 23 years old, and he has exactly $0 in the bank. He's just scrolling through Facebook one day and sees a post about weighted blankets. And right then, he just knew he was onto something big.
The growth was just astronomical. He threw up a simple store, started taking pre-orders, and the sales just kept pouring in. In that first year, his company Calming Blanket did that $10 million in sales we talked about earlier, with $1.5 million in pure profit. The next year, profits grew to $2.5 million. They were #1 on Google. The brand name basically became the product. It was the absolute definition of a viral success story. Until, it wasn't.
The business went from its absolute peak of profitability to losing over $1 million a year. The rocket ship just ran out of fuel and started plummeting back to Earth. How could a business this successful fail so spectacularly?
After taking a long, hard look at the numbers, Davey identified 3 critical mistakes, and they were all fueled by the hype and, honestly, the greed that comes with such insane, rapid growth. These are the traps that can turn that dream into a total nightmare.
Now, this first mistake is fascinating because of the psychology behind it. When you start making a ton of money, a funny thing happens. You get terrified of losing it. So, to hedge his bets, Davey launched over 10 new brands. The result? He was spending, at most, maybe 1 hour a week on Calming Blanket, the business that was making him millions. All the company financials got smushed together into one big, confusing mess. He literally had no idea which brands were making money and which were bleeding cash.
The second mistake was a total lack of product strategy. They just started launching endless variations of the weighted blanket. It was confusing for customers, and it diluted the brand. Crucially, they didn't create anything truly unique or defensible. So when cheaper competitors flooded the market, their only defense was their brand name, and that just wasn't strong enough. Customers flocked to the lower-cost options, and they lost a massive chunk of their market share.
And finally, we have a classic e-commerce killer: terrible inventory planning. All their cash was tied up in products that weren't selling, while their actual bestsellers were constantly out of stock.
This put them in a horrible position where they had to run ads for unprofitable items, which not only lost them money, but also damaged their brand image. It was a complete death spiral.
So, here's the crucial point. While Davy eventually had to shut down many of these brands, the failure itself became the most valuable product. It generated a crystal-clear playbook for how to turn a viral moment into a business that can actually last.
And here are those hard-won lessons. Don't scale faster than you can actually manage. Have a clear financial plan. You have to focus on a product that competitors can't just easily copy. Get your team's structure and incentives right from the start. Act on problems the moment you see them. Don't let them fester. And maybe most importantly, embrace focus and a little bit of humility.
And this quote from Davy himself really just sums it all up. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a huge part of it. The key is to actually learn from every single mistake because each one contains a blueprint for what to do right the next time around.
So that leaves us with a final question to really think about. It's so easy to chase the views, the clicks, and the quick sales. But the real challenge, the real goal, is building something that lasts. So are you building for a fleeting moment of attention, or are you building for a future of longevity? Thanks for joining me on this one.